Hello there, World of Tankers. I'm Blitz, and welcome back to one of my videos. Today we are talking about the German Bulldog, or the LeKpz. That's a tongue twister. But it is a light tank, as you can see, and it has the exact same armor profile as a T-49. Real quick, before I do start the video, I'm not going to show a clip of the armor like I normally do, just because the armor on this tank is really abysmal. There's no point to show it, and anybody that has half a brain to use high explosive against this thing will pretty much penetrate it 9 times out of 10. Now, this was a pretty nice game in the tank. I do actually like the tank quite a bit. I love the playstyle of light tanks. It's actually really fun to dot around and sort of use this really nice high explosive gun that it gets, which actually does 310 damage. Plus the 102 penetration it gets is just really, really good, because that 102 penetration is pretty much enough to go through any of the targets that are mediums or lights, and even most tank destroyers to the side, or even some of them on the front. Now, I will say, and I will pretty much tell you to do this, and that is run calibrated shells with this tank. You need it. It's going to save you. As you can see there, I can just barely penetrate that T-23E3 through the front, and without calibrated shells, I probably would not have been able to. You still have a very nice reload on it. Mine's 5.6, but that's just because I'm damaged right now, so it's, I think, 10% quicker. But the reload isn't really that bad at all, and I would suggest to just run calibrated, because it's really going to help make those shots count. Not to mention, calibrated brings up the really good 250 heat pen to 275, which is a really big difference of 25. So I really would suggest to do it. As you can see here, though, that high explosive just flushed through that AMX. He really doesn't even know where it's coming from. Fire the second one and he's done. Now, I will say the aiming circle isn't super impressive in this tank, especially for it being German, but the dispersion is also kind of okay. It's only 0.317, so it's really not the most accurate tank in the game. Wargaming did buff the dispersion, though. It used to be much worse after they first nerfed it, and I think they made the tank pretty balanced now, but you do need to be a semi-decent player to do well in this tank, because it doesn't have that huge alpha gun like the T-49 does. It has less of an alpha gun, and it can punish more, and it has a crazy amount of damage per minute when using high explosive 3,402. So that is very good for this tank. It's just that you need to know how to flank and how to push this vehicle, and I'll get more into that in the second replay, because that was a better replay for this. But you could see this game, I flanked all the way around the map just to shoot some of their tank destroyers in the back, and that's what you want to do. It's sort of like a little pesky rat that just snipes you from the back when you can't spot it and spams you with that HE from the rear if you're a tank destroyer. You can see, though, 64,000 credits without premium. With premium, 96,000. And I did fire quite a bit of heat, so that is something good. And total credits, I only got 31,000, but that, again, is because I fired a lot of heat. You can see, though, that all 10 of my shells did penetrate, so I do like the accuracy. It's not very bad, to be honest. It can be a bit better, but it does the job. Now I'll get stuck into the second replay. The second map is Canyon, and this is actually a pretty good map for light tanks, if you didn't know that. If you also don't do this, I would suggest you do. I'm going to rush up to the bridge. I just played this game like 30 minutes ago, so it's perfect. I was just trying to think of a video to make, and I figured I'd use this tank. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be honest, just because I'm not a huge fan of the playstyle, but I actually did decide to play it, and I really like it now. After the buff, because they buffed it quite a while ago. You don't need to know about that right now. It's not a huge important buff, but it was a while ago, and they gave it better dispersion, and I never really liked the tank before that because it always missed its shots. When it first came out, it was super good, and it pretty much hit everything with that amazing German accuracy that you'd think it would have. And then they nerfed it and ruined the accuracy, and it pretty much missed all of its shells, and you really couldn't do anything with it as a light tank, and you just get killed immediately. However, they finally buffed the dispersion back and the aiming time, and now it's actually at a pretty good spot to where it's not overpowered at any aspect, but yet it can do a lot of damage and high explosive as many people as you want. Now you can see I pushed right up to the bridge, and I would do this always in a tank that has gun depression or a very good camo rating, because not only can you spot the enemy when you rush up here, you can also really just shoot at anybody around the map. You have a eagle eye view on all the tanks, as you can see here. The KV-4, I can shoot 3 shells into this guy before I need to worry about him. And then as soon as the KV-3 gets at a distance, another tank pops up, the E-50, and you always have constant shells at the spot because you can see pretty much the whole map. Now, this high explosive is so good on this tank, you'll actually be able to penetrate the side of an E-50. And that's pretty hard to penetrate. Now, unfortunately, you can see it just hit him in the front armor. It missed by a bit, and that's that 0.3 dispersion. But it does hit most of the time, and when it does, it hurts. You can roll up to 400 damage with this high explosive. And since you want to use your precision fire skill where every 4 shots, if they all penetrate, you get an extra damage one, which you'll see when I'm shooting at this WZ, it's very, very helpful because you're able to do, as you see here, just slam a 340 damage shell into the rear of that glacial. The penetration with the HE is just such a good and redeeming factor for me. I wasn't sure if I'd really enjoy this tank when I started to drive it, but after I played it for a while, I just realized how good this gun is and how nice that penetration is, along with the ability to flank. It's just such a strong tank at doing that, and you can see the accuracy does hold up. The aiming circle is a bit big, but it's really fine for what it is. I do actually like the tank, but you do need to know how to run tanks. Again, like I talked about in my other videos, when you start off in a match with a light tank, you need to look at the enemy team. You need to see what tanks they're running and how you're going to counter them and where you're going to push. Because you want to flank the enemy's tank destroyers with this, because this is just a tank destroyer eating machine. But if you can't flank them, you're going to be screwed, because all the medium tanks will easily kill you. They're not scared of your gun. It really can't tear them apart that easily. They can ram you, smash you. The T-49, the reason it's a much stronger tank, in my opinion, with the gun-wise, is just because the T-49 can use that 560 alpha to sort of scare people away. This tank can't do that. So if you have a T-49 and you really like it and push aggressive in it, don't do that with this tank. It will kill you. It doesn't have a threatening enough gun to scare enemy light tanks away. They will push on you and they will most likely kill you. You don't want to fight light tanks in this vehicle. What you want to do is you want to sort of go after lower health targets or medium tanks that you can get behind of, or heavies, and just smash them with that high explosive. If you can do the circle of death around any slow heavy tank, like a Tiger 2 you can actually penetrate the sides with on the HE, you can just do circles around that Tiger 2 all day and do more damage per minute than pretty much killing him in 20 seconds. It's really, really good. So I actually really like this vehicle. Now, is it worth the price? Really, it's up to you. It's not the best, in my opinion, for the price, because it's still around $25. If you do buy it, I wouldn't suggest to get it with the camo. To be honest, I don't like the camo that much. It looks much better with something like this, in my opinion. That's just up to me, though. You can get any camo you like. But personally, a lot of camos go well with this tank, so don't feel obligated just to get the Twister camo, because I'm not a huge fan of this camo. As you can see, it sort of just dulls out the tank. I really like the Thunderbolt camo for these vehicles. So I do like the look of it. It's a pretty strong vehicle, and I'll show you again really quick. It has the exact same armor profile as a T-49. So if you do know how to run a T-49, you will do pretty well in this tank and know how to run it just as well. That's pretty much it on my review for this tank, though. If you do like my video, please comment down below. Let me know if you have any, ideas for any new videos, if you have replays or anything else. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Hey there guys, real quick before the video ends, I have just created a Patreon, and if you guys would like to check it out, I am trying to get some money to be able to afford to buy new tanks, because I'm no longer spending my real money on the game. So if you guys want to help me out on making videos or buying new equipment, please check out the Patreon. I will leave a link down below. You can spend $2 a month, $3 a month, or $5 a month. Thank you.